Hello and good morning. We're in week 2 and we only have today and tomorrow to finish it up. So let's take a look here. Next week we do have a test. Okay, so let's revisit one from yesterday. Now this might not be the exact points, but to do the distance formula, you have to put down this formula right here. Or this, formula. So this is x and y's here. So you want to put the first one, not both of these, okay? The first one here and the first one there. So that's a -2 and a -5. This one is a -4 and a -3. Now if you remember yesterday, I only put one negative here, so be careful. You have a negative in the formula, and if the number is a negative, that changes to a plus. And so does this one. So we end up with 3 squared here and a -1 squared there. So we get 9, 3 times 3, and 1 times 1 is 1. Please don't put 2. There it is. Let's go to the next one, midpoint. Midpoint, you add up the x's. Well, if you add that up, you get -7, and then you divide by 2. If you add these up, you also get -7. And then you divide by 2. And that's the midpoint. Midpoint's the easiest. But when you're looking for the end point, like we did yesterday, it's a little bit more work. And what I want you to do is to draw the diagram. Put 3 dots. So one of the end, you got 2 ends, is 2 and 5. We know the midpoint is 5 and 1, but we're missing this one. So put an x and a y. Remember, stretch your arms out, and you're going to use these two. Not those two, these two. So it's going to be 2 plus x divided by 2 is equal to 5. And some kids are like, well, why are you dividing by 2? Because that's the formula. It's a midpoint. It's halfway. On the y's, stretch your arms out. It's 5 plus y. Divided by 2 is equal to 1, which is that one. All right, now if you can work this out, you're done. The whole thing is divided by 2, so you want to multiply by 2. When you do, you get 2 plus x is equal to 10. You subtract 2. 10 minus 2 is 8. That's one answer. In this one, you're going to multiply by 2. And when you do, you get 5 plus y is equal to 2. You're going to subtract 5 and get a -3. So your answer will be 8 and -3. So right here, put an 8 and a -3, and you're done. And that's what we did yesterday. So if you were absent, make sure you understand that. And again, just to remind you, be careful with your double negatives when you do the distance formula. Today's work is harder. Put everything away on a new sheet of paper. I want you to copy this down. In order to work this, you have to understand the concept of fractions. So what I want you to do right now is divide this up into 5 pieces and keep 2. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 pieces. And you keep 2. So that is 2 out of 5 pieces. And what's left is 3 out of 5 pieces. And if you add up this one plus this one, you get 1. 5 over 5. Make sure you understand that concept. This one right here, you put a 1 under here and you multiply straight across. So this is going to be 8 over 3. And then 3 goes into 8 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract. You got a remainder of 2 over 3. Remainder over your divisor. Make sure you understand this basic concept because today's work is harder. So let's take a look at today's work. If you can't be with me today, or if you're looking at this video because you want to be a super geometry student, which is awesome, here is your worksheet. And if you notice, the answers are down here. So I do want you to check your answers. All right, we're going to work one. Number 1, as a matter of fact. Okay? So, let's see what's going on. they give us 2 points, all right? So we're going to graph them. So the first thing I want you to do on today's worksheet is graph them. So go -3 and then down 2 right here. All right, and actually I only went 2. So go -3 and then down 2. Okay, always check your work. So let me get my eraser here. And I don't see it handy. But I do have a different one. So it could be the same. Let's get rid of that. Okay? So -3 and then down 2. And then the next point is over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then up 1 is about right there. So what we want to do is draw this up like that. I kind of missed it a little bit. Now here's the trick to this, okay? So pay attention. You're going to make a right triangle. So you're going to come down straight, and you're going to come over, and you're going to make a right triangle. That's step 1, okay? And after you make a right triangle, you're going to count how many flat ones and how many vertical ones. So let's count. 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It looks like 9 on this side. Okay? 3 over here and 6 over there makes 9. And then right here, let me think now, we went down 2 spaces, that's 2, and then we went up 1. So this should be 3 right here. Okay? And that's your slope, really. Your slope is 3 over 9. But that's not what we're doing here. The ratio is 2 to 1. Okay? And we're going from A to B. Okay, so this is A, and we're going to B. Right here. A to B. So you got to be careful which one you're going to. And this is a section that most kids miss on the EOC. So you're going to have to put some time into this, and we'll do some more work tomorrow. So here's how you do this. You take your ratio here, 2 to 1 ratio, and you add these up. So 2 plus 1 gives you 3. And you use the first one here, which is 2/3. So you're going to put 2 over 3, and it's going to be 2/3 of the way. So you're starting from A, and you're going this way, according to the directions here. Okay? So you're going to take 2 over 3, and you're going to multiply by 9, which is the change in x. Put a 1 under here. So 2 times 9 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3, and that gives me 6. Okay? So what I'm going to do is go over 6 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces, and then go up. And my point would be right there. So this one would be 2/3, and this one would be 1/3. All right? But they want to know, where is that point at? Okay, so let's think about this. To figure out where that point is actually located, and this is going to be a little tricky maybe, okay? You start at the origin and you go over 1, 2, 3. That's easy. So you go over 3. The problem is we got to know up how much. You say you got to know up how much. So what you're going to do is take 2/3. Let me think about this. Okay, yeah, 2/3 times the vertical one. So let's try that. So 2/3 times the vertical one, which is 3 over 1. And when you do that, the 3's cancel, and you end up with 2 over 1, which is 2. So you want to go up 2. Okay, so let's think about this a minute here. So from here, okay, well that's up 2 right there, but that's not going to hit that point. So let me think about that. All right, let's just poke our eyes at the answer here, and it's 3, 0. Okay, so that is going to be right, but my graph is way off, you see. So yeah, it is 2, so we're going to go up 0, or rather 1, 2, and it hits here at 0. So my graph is way off, okay, unfortunately. But the answer is 3 and 0, and what I told you here is correct. Okay, but it'd probably be better if we had graph paper because it was misleading. Okay, but there it is. Now let's try another one. We're going to try, since we have the answers, we might as well use those. And let's go on to number 3. Okay, so we're going to do this together and we're going to write out the steps. Okay, so put steps here, number 3. All right, so first thing I want you to do is to graph it. So step 1 is graph. Okay, so we want to graph this, and again, try to make your graph maybe better than what mine was. So this is a -2, so go -2 and then go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a dot right there. Put A. Okay, and then this one is over 2, 1, 2, but up 3. 1, 2, 3. Put a dot right there and call that B. Okay, these are kind of close together. So draw that like that. That's step 1, graph it. Step 2 is make a right triangle. So make a right triangle. Now, I'm going to go down here like this. I'm going to use a different color so you see it. Okay? So make a right triangle. That's step 2. Okay? So now that I have a right triangle, what we're going to do is count the vertical. And the vertical looks like 2 spaces. So put a 2 right here. And the horizontal looks like 1 space, 2, 3, 4. It looks like 4 spaces. So put a 4 right there. Okay? So we have the vertical and the horizontal. Now, they're going from A to B again. Okay, sometimes they go backwards, so be careful with that. We're starting from this side and going this way. All right, in any event, let me think here. The ratio is 4 to 1. So 4 to 1. So step 3 is to add the ratio numbers. So in this case, 4 plus 1 is going to give you 5. So it's going to be 4 out of 5. Now from here to here, 4 out of 5 is almost the whole thing. It's like taking from here to here and dividing it into 5 pieces and keeping 4. So I know my answer is about right here, even if I don't know what I'm doing or can't work it any further. But we're going to go ahead and work this. So let's take a look. Let's think about this carefully. We're going to take this right here and multiply it to both of these. So put 4 over 5 times 4, and then put 4 over 5 times 2. Now put a 1 under here. Okay, let's multiply. 4 times 4 is going to give you 16 divided by 5. And 5 goes into 16 3 times with 1 left over. So it's going to be 3 1/5. Okay, that's going to be a decimal. This one right here, 4 times 2 is 8, so that's 8 over 5, and that's going to be 1 3/5. Okay, so we have these two numbers here, so circle. All right, so step 3, or 4 rather, is multiply by the change in x and the change in y. So you got to multiply to both of these, and that's what I did here. All right, so let's see. We're going from A to B. We want to go over 3 1/5. So you want to go over 1, 2, 3, and then 1/5 of another one is just a little bit. And then come up, and that's where it hits. That's our answer right there. So it's over, watch this. It's over 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1/5. So to get this point, you start at the origin. This is where it gets a little tricky. To get that point right there, you have to go over 1 from the origin and then 1/5 of another one. So my x should be over 1 1/5. Let's just verify that just to make sure we're on the right track here. And I'm going to push that up just a little bit. In fact, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So stay with me. Okay, let's focus it. Let's check our answer on number 3. So if you look at number 3, they have 1.2. Well, I have 3 1/5, but watch. They have 1.2. But if you take your calculator and you take 1 divided by 5, guess what you're going to get? I did that wrong. 1 divided by 5 is 0.2. Okay, so my answer is the same as their answer. Now you got to get this height here. And again, this is tricky. So what you're going to do here is go up 1 3/5. Okay, so let's think about that now. All right, so to get to that, 1 3/5. Okay, now that 1 3/5 was from here to here, but you're actually going up one space because you're starting from the origin. You're actually going up 1 space, 2 space, 3. I'm going to say you're going up. Now again, I don't have graph paper, so I'm going to say 3. I mean, it looks like it could be 4, but you're going up 3/5 there. Okay, so that point right there, let's see what they have. For number 3, they have 3 and 3.4 is what they have here. Okay, and I said 3 3/5, and here, this is where it gets tricky. See that 3/5 is 0.6. Watch. Okay, but you got to use the opposite of that, or what's left from 1 is 0.4. Okay, so we'll talk more about that. The main thing right now is that you understand that the point is somewhere in this location and that you can find that point. The question is, and where we're going to have to hone in a little bit, is how to get the exact points. Okay, so we'll deal with that a little more in class. And I'll give you a few problems to do today, and then tomorrow we'll finish the worksheet. And again, this is the hardest stuff. All right, let's take a look now at MCR. MCR, this one right here, only the x is expanded. So it's going to be x, x, x. And then down here, the whole parentheses. So it's going to be 5x, 5x, and 5x. Okay, 3 of them. This one right here, you have to do the exponent first. So it's 1/2 times 1/2, which equals 1/4 right there. So it's 1/3 minus 1/4. And then here you have to find your least common denominator, which is 12, 3 times 4. So you're going to multiply by 4, you're going to multiply by 3, and you get 4/12 minus 3/12, which gives you 1/12. But then you have to square it, so it's going to be 1/12 squared, which is going to be 1 times 1, and 12 times 12, which gives you 1/144. And that's how you do that problem right there. And let's move on. This one right here says find the volume. The volume is going to be the area of the bottom, and that's a circle. So put area of a circle equals pi times the radius squared. And the radius is not 12, that's your diameter. So put 6 times 6 times the height, which is 10. And since it comes to a point, you have to divide by 3. So take your calculator, work all of that out, and you have your answer. That's all there is to it. Let's see what else we have to do here, guys. All right, try and work these right here, and then I'm going to get you started. Yes, we've had this before. Here you have more positives. Here you have more negatives. This is a double negative, which gives you 11. Your work for today is right here. Make sure you copy. Put a heading at the top of your page. This is your heading, along with your name, date, and period. Have a good morning, and I'll see you in class.